Welcome in, my friends, to another day of Star Wars Day by Day. Star Wars Galaxy Heroes Day by Day. Not just Star Wars Day by Day, but Star Wars Galaxy Heroes Day by Day. Thanks for being here. Have you guys recently had a day where it was like you were kind of like Akbar in what is it, Return of the Jedi? It's a trap. That's kind of how today was. And I just want to set this off at the beginning. A lot to unpack. What's been happening recently. Want to talk a little bit about, or probably more than a lot, about the revival. I told you I was going to talk about that once I unpacked it, once I had time to process it, and I have. And so the revival that we had was a week ago. It took place a week ago from the day I'm recording this. You're seeing this about a week after I recorded it. So when you're seeing it, happened about 2 weeks ago. But so we had a revival like this last year, and I don't know if I talked about it because it was right before we went on vacation last year. This thing happened, and then it was so big that it was only supposed to go 1 week, but they ended up doing it for 2 more weeks after it. And one of those 2 weeks was the week that we were on vacation, or maybe 2 of the weeks were the week we were on vacation. I don't remember. And I wish I would have been able to be there for the entire time, but I wasn't because we went on vacation. But and you've not really noticed this because I've not talked about it. But it sort of helped change me to where I talk more freely about this stuff on this channel. And guys, let me just say this. Today I did a lot of praying for various friends of mine, various acquaintances, people in general, for people to take what they believe more seriously. Because you can just turn on the news and you can see there's a certain group of people who actually are trying to make manifest, bring to the real world what they believe. And I'm not mentioning any names, but they're the ones out saying this person is so-and-so, this person is such and such. And then the other side is like, well, at one time I believed this, but now I'm reconsidering. And so you have one side that believes something. And to be perfectly honest, that's the side that I'm not for. The side that I'm for is the one that's wishy-washy, that can't figure out what it wants to do. And the reason for that is because the people like not the people like myself, but the people who claim to believe things that I similarly believe. They're not willing to do the hard thing. And I talked about a little bit about the sermon I was going to pitch to my pastor, that he's just like, I don't think that's right. That's right for our church right now. And I was talking about how it involved doing hard things. And that's what I think is the problem in large part. So we had a revival last week. And my foster son has a mom, obviously. And she comes to our church sometimes with us. And she went to several of these revival services. She went to one on her own. She came to 2 more with us. And she brought friends. And to be fair, my foster son's mom went to jail. She was at jail at the beginning of the year, and we got her. Her son came into care when she was in jail, and she got out at the beginning of the year, like mid-January. And for much of the time that she's been out, she's been living in this sober living facility, and she met various friends. And she would go to church with this woman. Sometimes she would come to church with us. And then she recently started coming to church with us, and she moved into a different facility that's closer to where we live. And so a couple of weeks ago, she had an incident where she had some stuff that she wasn't supposed to have. And because of that, they changed her visitation to where she can't have what is called unsupervised visits. So basically, any visit she has with her son has to be supervised. There has to be somebody there with her to watch and make sure she doesn't do anything. And this woman went to this revival. Like, that happened the week after this visitation stuff happened. She went to 3 of the 4 services. And last Wednesday, this guy, he's like, it doesn't matter if you've been saved, but if there's something that you need to bury, there's something that's holding you back, there's something that's limiting you from stepping into the new phase of life where you need to be, where you're free from bondage, from all of this other stuff, then you should get baptized. And so she did. She did. And I mentioned she brought friends. I mentioned she talked to other people, and they came. One of them brought tarot cards and drug paraphernalia and all sorts of stuff. And she got baptized. And she left the stuff there. She left the bag of this stuff there. And the guy who did this revival, he posted on it. He's like, this is what happened this week. Somebody came and brought all of this stuff to the revival service. They got changed, and they left all this stuff behind. These are people who normally you would think, these are people that are never coming to this type of thing, but yet they did. And their lives got changed. Meanwhile, my wife went to the same revival service. Our daughter She wanted to get in the tank. Now, my daughter is basically a reflection. She's basically, you hear some nights, or you've heard her some nights in the past. I filter her out now, or I try my best to anyway. But she doesn't look like us at all. But she is basically the embodiment of my wife's childlike spirit. And she wanted in. My daughter wanted to, and this little girl, she's 4, our daughter, she wanted to get into the tank. She wanted to get baptized. And we decided against it. And I was talking to my wife at this revival service, and I'm like, you should get in. Now, guys, I think I've talked a little bit about all the baggage my wife has. And I don't know why. But she insists on carrying this baggage around. And I'm like, just give it away. Just give it. Just give it to him. And if you know about Christianity, God says, come to me, all of you who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. And he says, give everything that you're holding, that you're not meant to hold all this. You're not meant to hold on to this anxiety. You're not meant to hold on to all these burdens that weigh you down. Give them to me. Give them to me. Meaning, if you trust me enough to step into the newness that I have for you, by giving you everything that weighs you down, I will give you freedom. And so these ladies that had no business being at this service, they did that. But my wife wouldn't do that. Consequently, also, I was posting every day on social media where my friends are. And I'm like, hey guys, you should come out. Bring your kids, whatever. It's fine. Come. Trying to get all my friends to come. You want to guess how many of them came? I'll give you a hint. It's a really small number. In fact, it's the smallest number. 0. And the only thing I can figure is it wasn't their church, or they had a long day, or all of the things that you can use to as an excuse to not want to do anything. You can not want to go to a ball game because you had a hard day at work, or because the drive's far, or because the food is outrageous, the ticket prices are outrageous, whatever. But how many people do that? There are people that do that every day. But yet these friends of mine who are like me cannot do that. I live just as far away from our church as a lot of these people do. Some of these people live closer to this church than I do. We live a good 15, 20 miles away from the place where we go to church. I alluded to it previously in a couple of my videos where I had to drive back and forth and all this stuff. Now, granted, I'm a stay-at-home dad, but my wife, she works full-time. And she went and she went back to 3 of these services. Last year, she only went to 1. So we've improved. So we went from, she went to 1 last year. This year, she went to 3 of the 4. So we improved on that. But why I couldn't get all of my friends to come out, and I'm like, and I was like, guys, come on out. I don't know what the Lord has for you, but you need to come. Every day I posted this. Nobody came. At these services in our church, we've been singing a song that's called Tear Off the Roof. You should check it out. It's by a guy named Brandon Lake, and it uses some of the imagery from the show, from the first season of the show, The Chosen. Now, I watched the first season. It was excellent. I have no problem with it. Because it has some really powerful stuff. And what the song talks about is, I can't remember what book it's in. I think it's in Matthew, where Jesus is at this house, and he's talking and he's preaching it to these people. And all of a sudden, these people, they rip open the roof of this house, and they lower this paralyzed gentleman down into the house. And Jesus heals this guy because of his faith. And there's another scene where, I believe it's in season 2, where Jesus is walking through a crowd. And there's this woman who's been bleeding for 12 years. And she's tried everything. She's tried all of this other stuff. And she's trying her best to avoid touching people, because that would make them unclean. Because she has this demon or the spirit in her where she's been bleeding for 12 years. And at the last second, she reaches out in desperation and touches the bottom of his robe that he's wearing. And you can see it in his face in the show, that he's felt this person touch him. And she was so desperate to get to him that she tore the meadow. That the song talks about, I didn't come here to stand in the crowd. I'm going to get to you. I don't care how. Meaning, I'm going to get what I need. I don't care what it takes. I'm going to get freedom. I don't care what it takes. And guys, there's a lot of my friends that are believers that are struggling with things. And they're looking for answers. They're praying. They're asking God for answers. Talking about children gone astray, and miscarriages, and everything every family struggles with. Infidelity, all this fun stuff. And you would think that people that already go to church would say, you know what? Let's go to this revival. Let's see what happens. Maybe nothing happens, but let's just see what happens. And I would love to tell you that that happened, but it didn't. I would love to tell you that my wife is now getting freedom from the stuff that she's been going to. But she didn't get baptized. She didn't get into the tank. Instead, this lady, my foster son's mom, she got baptized. And the friend that she invited to come with the tarot cards and the drug paraphernalia, she got baptized. Because they were desperate enough to let's just see what happens. But my friends that live right behind us, that we're friends with, that we've gone to church with before, who are believers, did they come? No. No. And so I mentioned that there's two things vying for power in this country. There's people who believe wicked stuff, and they're out there calling people names, and they're slinging mud around and all this. And then there's people like me, or people who think they're like me, who believe similar things that I do, that I believe, who can't be bothered to get off the couch, who can't be bothered to drive 20 miles, who can't be bothered to just, I don't know what's going to happen, but let's find out. And I spent much of today praying for people like that. I spent much of the day praying for my wife. I spent much of the day praying for my neighbors back here. I spent much of my day praying for everybody that I've known in the past that I currently know who believe similarly that I do, that they would that God would bring them to the point where they're so desperate that they can't wait to come to next year's event. And it bothers me. It bothers me that they have to wait 365 days, 360 days, 350 days for that to happen again. I thought about it. I messed up too. So I told you about them, but now I'm telling you about me and how I messed up. Okay? And this was something that I realized the night after. I realized this after we went to the last service, after I went to work right after. I texted our pastor. I'm like, I fell into a trap. I said, the next time this guy comes back, I'm getting baptized again the first night. Now, guys, I got baptized last year. Okay? I went to this event. I went in. That's why you're hearing what I'm saying now. If I wouldn't have got in, I probably wouldn't be saying the stuff that I'm saying to you now. Honestly. I told him next time this guy comes back, I'm getting in the first night. I'm getting baptized. And then I thought about it some more. I thought about it today. I woke up and I'm like, I'm such a moron. I'm like, what if I would have posted? What if I would have took the church's post that, hey, the revival's happening? I would have posted it in the discussion thing where people post about, things that's happening in the town or the city? What if I would have said, hey, there's a revival service happening at this church on this day, and I would have posted it the Sunday before, the Wednesday prior to, the Friday night or Saturday morning prior to, and then if I would have went Sunday night and I would have got baptized that night, and I would have said, hey, look, y'all, I went and I got baptized. How powerful would that have been? So I messed up too. And I didn't realize that until this morning. That's why it's been a week. And I said I would think about it. I didn't think about this until today. But I just wanted to let you know that maybe you believe, maybe you're a believer like me. And maybe there's an event like this coming to your area, but you don't want to go because it's it's not your tribe, it's not your church. Go and see. Go and see if there's something that God has for you. Go and see. Because maybe there is, maybe there ain't, maybe there isn't. But if you don't go, you're not gonna know. Because that's what I'm feeling about all of my friends that didn't come. That's what I'm feeling about my wife, who I'm desperate for her to give up all this crap that she's not meant to carry around. I'm desperate for her to step into the newness that Jesus had for her, but she just won't. And I'm desperate for people like me who say they believe but won't go because it's not their church. It's not their people. They don't know anybody there. Meanwhile, we're getting our butts handed to ourselves by the other side, who believes in all of this crazy stuff. And then when we lose, we're going to be like, how did this happen? The answer is because you let it. You let it. You let yourself miss out on the blessing. You let it happen. I know there wasn't a lot of talk today about Star Wars, but we didn't have anything going on. And I just wanted to put this video out there because it was what I needed to talk about. I said I would, and I did. So maybe we'll be back to standard Star Wars day-by-day stuff tomorrow. Who knows? But if you're still here, let me know. Leave me comments. Leave me a booyah. Leave me a tear off the roof. Leave me a tear off the roof. Go check out the song. I'm not gonna say that it's perfect, but it's a powerful song. And if you believe that what you need is to have the roof torn off your faith, then do it. But if you're just playing around, don't be surprised when the crap hits the fan. Just don't. Because you let it happen. Anyway, guys, that's all I got. God bless. Have a good night. Let me know if you have any questions, comments, concerns. I'm here. I'm fine. It's fine. I know you want to see this for a week, and I understand that. But yeah. As always, God bless. Make sure you hold the line, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.